Hello and welcome back to Emma Russell Studio. I'm Emma, and if you're new here, I teach you how to paint watercolor florals in really simple yet down-to-earth short videos for beginners. And today we're actually going to be diving in, bless you, sorry, that's my kitten, you might see in the video. We're diving into how to paint aerial flowers. So when you are looking straight down at a flower, there's a cluster of them, and I'm going to show you 3 tips that will really help you when painting from this perspective. So, excuse me 1 minute. This is Birdie, my little Maine Coon kitten, and she loves baskets. That's where she just was. So grab your paper and your brushes, and let's get started. So my first tip when painting aerial flowers is to really make sure that you are just kind of dotting in where you want the flowers to go. So in this case, we're going to start with the center of our flowers, and I'm just going to be putting some yellow dots. We're going to put one over here, one to the left, one below here, so you're just kind of patting in the yellow. I use the Winsor & Newton professional watercolors. You can feel free to use whichever ones you have. And this is my Princeton Heritage number 3 round brush. And we're just going to kind of dot these in almost an arched composition. This is one that works really well, helps the eye move around the page, and we're going to mix in some yellow ochre to our lemon yellow. You might see my little kitten running around. She was on my back the entire video painting this. So I'm going to put some yellow ochre in the centers, and the second tip is to really make sure that when you are painting your petals, which we're going to be doing next, we're going to be using a little bit of a cadmium-free red that I have, and you want to really make sure they fan out, because when you look down at a flower, they're really open. So to achieve this, we are having our brush at about a 45-degree angle, and cat interruption. We are then kind of swooping our brush around, and we're really like letting it fan out and just let the petals go outward and just kind of taper off. They don't have to be completely round on the edges, but see how I'm also making that curve? So I'm going to do that down here. I'm going to slightly curve my petals and kind of do this flicking motion as I am spreading them out. So with all of these petals, they're all going to be this color. You're kind of just thinking about how they would open up in this direction. And if you need a reference photo, you can always grab one. This is the one that I am actually working off of, and I think it'll be really helpful for you as well. So here on the right, I am just kind of getting that bit of the petal in. I know that this flower to the right of that flower is going to be underneath it. So you really just want to keep in mind, and this is the third thing, keep in mind your composition. So really think about how you want the flowers to lay. Now, based off of this reference, this is how the flowers look, or if you're painting in real life, you might be really taking that into observation. So a lot of these tips are based off of observing what are your surroundings, what is the subject you are painting. Are you going to add some deeper reds like we are now? Are you going to add a little bit of saturation? When are you going to add a little bit of water? So being really observant is going to really work in your favor in any kind of medium. It's not just for watercolor. When you are creating something, you really need to spend that time observing. So these petals are going to be curving down. So I am curving them. The flower is kind of facing downward. We're still in that aerial view, but it's turned slightly. So we have that petal you can see above kind of going over the yellow center. Now we're going to work on this one on the right and get some more going out. I'm really curving that brush, and I'm going to curve it down here, adding a little bit more paint when I see fit, and adding a little more water if the paint feels too heavy or I just want to kind of extend that color. So this one I'm curving, and you have that petal curved a little bit more on the yellow, and I'm going to go back into the areas that have dried. So those are basically your 3 tips when you're painting them. Let's finish this up. So we're really gonna go into that C curve and just add another one down here on the bottom right. We're gonna just fan out those petals, and we're gonna put one in between those other 2 as well up top. But I wanna add the green leaves. So I'm using my sage green, and this is just so fun and bright. I love the way that it is working with the cadmium free red. It is just so complimentary, and I'm going to add a little stem up here actually, which is a great way that you can kind of go in with that negative space. And we are going to add some leaves on either side. You're just pressing and lifting. Get a little bit more pigment on my brush, add another leaf over here. This is where it's fun to just kind of add those details of what you feel like your painting needs. But it's a great way to just, add in some extra color. And I'm going to go back in with just a little bit more yellow, and I'm going to do one more over here, actually 2 more. So doing that center, just dotting it out, making sure you rinse your brush really well before you put in that red. And then I'm going to just go around the flower and really fan out the petals. And we're going to wrap up this painting, finishing up these flowers, and those are your 3 tips on perspective for aerial view perspective. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.